everyone. I'm Donna Whittington. I'll be the hostess tonight. And tonight we are talking with Tommy Warren Jr. And I actually have his son with us, David Warren. So tonight we're going to talk about these two gentlemen and, of course, race car enthusiasts. And we're just going to have a lot of fun with them tonight. Here's your chance to chat directly with them. So hopefully you're already tuned in. And guess what? We're going to make it easy for you. If you're on Facebook, go ahead and chat. You can say hi to them. You can ask your questions there. I will be able to see the questions, and then we'll get your questions answered. So everyone, take a moment. Go to your Facebook pages. Go to Tommy's Facebook page. That's where we'll be able to see the questions, and you'll be able to ask them. I'll be able to ask the guys. And hopefully, maybe if they see the questions, they can answer them as well. But we want to know that you are there. So, first of all, welcome, both of you. Tommy and David, how are you?
I'm doing just fine. How about yourself there, Donna?
I am well. You know what? I'm pretty excited because you get to educate me tonight on racing, okay? So we'll have a lot to talk about. And, of course, you got your son there with you. David, how are you?
I'm good.
Awesome. What do you think about your dad there?
What's that now?
I was asking David. I said, David, what do you think about your dad?
Talented.
Okay. Come on, David. I know you got more than that.
He's awesome, a good father and everything.
Right on. All right.
Drive a car.
Oh, yeah. Please.
Okay, well, you know what? Let's do it. Let's go ahead and get started with Tommy Warren Jr. Tommy, why don't you tell everyone your story. You have an incredible story that I'm excited for people to hear. And I know some people have heard the story, some people haven't, so go ahead and give us some history on you.
Okay, now if you're referring to the stroke thing, about 2 years ago.
You know what? Go back further than the stroke because, I mean, we want to know your history about you and how you got started.
Okay, well, ever since I've been a toddler, my dad he was a champion in Chicago, Illinois. He was a track champion for years out there. Couldn't tell you how many championships he's won. We moved to the Sunshine State, which is Pensacola, Florida. And my dad raced here, Mobile, a bunch of other racetracks. My brother-in-law come into the picture probably about when I was about 8, 9 years old. I was racing like go-karts, mini bikes, whatever had wheels and had a motor. I was wanting to go fast and get with it, you know. So one day I was out there helping my brother-in-law, which is Rocky Boyd, which was always my idol back in the days, other than, you know, everybody knows Dale Earnhardt's the best. But I actually always wanted to race a full-size race car, which is about 3,500-pound car back then you had to run with a 600 horsepower. So one day my dream come true. My dad come to me as I progressed in go-karts, done good in it, started riding motorcycles, did real good in that. Just wanted to get 4 wheels up under me and go fast as I could go, you know. So my dad basically said, look, I found a car, you know, would you like to, we can go get a bank, loan us the money. This guy's going through a hard time. It costs us about $2,500 to get the car. I'll co-sign for you, and we'll get you your first race car. And naturally, I was all for that. I said, heck yeah, let's go get it, you know. And sure enough, we went up there, and we bought this car, and we went to the first thing we did was we brought it back, and it's really funny the way it worked out. The car actually was like a 7/8 mile dirt track car, which was a really fast car. Me not knowing all the weight and the speed these cars got at this time, my dad told me just go on out there and drive it like you stole it, you know, and that's where I come up with my word. I tell everybody else I drive the wheels off them, but I went out there, spun that car about 15 times. In the first lap, I had the fans laughing at me. We threw dirt in the stands. It was great. But, I mean, at the time I was thinking, the dirt ain't going to be for me, you know. So I was telling my dad, I said, look, we're going to have to bring this thing on back, and where I want to run at is asphalt to begin with, because I felt like I would have more control over it. Racing, we raced one-on-one drag races. That's where they took a stock street car, lined them up on the speedway, and you made one lap. So I felt like I had a better chance on asphalt. So in the meantime, what we done is we brought that car back. We put back then they call it a Spirit 76 Nova. and we put it on this hot rodded dip. And back then it weighed about 3,300 pound car. The rules allowed us to weigh about 2,850. So we was able to shed some more weight off of it. I got out there and they had a race over there called the Rattlesnake 300. First race I ever raced in my life, really a professional type race. I get out there and I'm driving this thing and I'm thinking I'm running 500 miles an hour, but I'm barely getting around there coming to pits. And I said, Dad, this thing's flying. He said, son, you ain't even going to make the race. What are you talking about? And I said, I mean, it was real comical for them, and it was like, I'm thinking I'm driving this as fast as I can. I ain't get. He said, look, you get on out of the car. I'm going to show you this how it's supposed to be. I said, but literally, it feels like it's going to break. And he said, that's what you want. When that thing's biting so hard, you want to stand on it harder. He went out there, and naturally, my sister, which is Teresa Cody, she said, you need to let Daddy drive the car. You can't even drive this thing. And I said, oh, my God, my own sister's telling me I can't drive it. And naturally, what I did, as Daddy gets out of the car, I'm going to go out there and I'm going to stand on this thing this time. I seen that Daddy could do it, and I said, if he can do it, I can do it. Sure enough, I get out there and I actually make the field of 20. I think it was 25th position, my first race I ever ran in. Was able to qualify for one of the biggest races back then, is Rattlesnake 300, like a big opening season. I get out there and we run it along there. I think it must have been 250, I believe it was. They had this big pileup. I'm finally running towards the front. I get up, I think, about 7th or 8th, and they have this big pileup, and I run over a piece of metal, blows my right front tire. I'm out of the race. I pull in the pits. This guy comes up to me. He said, look, man, I got a car here that only got 10 laps on the races. He said, throw them 4 tires on, because we didn't even have come to the race with a spare tire. I mean, we literally come to the speedway with 4 tires and a set of practice of 4 tires, burn all them up while I was trying to learn how to drive the car.
Wow.
So we throw these 4 new tires on this thing. Started, I think 15th place, and we come all the way through the field, drove all the way up to 3rd place in my first race at the Rattlesnake 300. And I thought I said, man, we've got it. I've got this, and man. So naturally, we come to Pensacola, which was the opening season back then, right after the Rattlesnake 300, and we got out there and we ran good, top 3 or 4 positions like that. But I mean, I just never really had quite what it took to really make it work like I needed. I either didn't have enough horsepower, or I didn't have the money to buy the tires. So basically, what I done is I was working 2 jobs, racing, and had Exxon, which I worked for Exxon. They come on board. All the guys, we all got together, and they pretty much started putting money towards tires and stuff like that. We went out there, got pretty serious with them then that year. We painted the car like the Levi Garrett car, 5-star on it, and we had a good year that year. I think we finished the 2nd season. I think we got 3rd or 4th in the first season. For a beginner of only 1 year up under my belt, I thought we'd done really good. And then after that, I just started like building race cars, helping other people out. And then I'd take the money I make on that, I'd put back in my machine to try to get out there and pretty much race. If I did that off and on pretty much all through my whole life, and it come down probably, I'm gonna say it had to be about 3 or 4 years ago. I had just gotten where the money was tight. I was trying to build race cars. I'd like to help other people race and just kind of drive through. In other words, watch other people drive, and I'd tell them what they needed and get the setup in there, and just didn't have the money to do it. So one day I told my brother-in-law, I said, if I could have somebody come on board to just help me out on these cars, we could probably do really good with. He said, well, I'm going to talk to a few people. Well, at the meantime, I was talking to Yellow Cab. I work on all their vehicles, which is the taxi in Pensacola. They come on board, and they actually sponsor my wife, which is Shannon Warren, and me. We actually sponsor about 3 or 4 other cars, kind of getting the money around, and we had a heck of a year. My wife stood on the stage at top 10. I think I got a top 3 out of the deal, and I mean, really, basically, we've just been in it all along. I mean, I couldn't tell you probably for the whole life of me, I probably got over 200 wins on asphalt, and so I actually went to dirt a couple more times, raced there, but it's been, when I come back to dirt this last time, which is the story I'm working up to right now, we had been camping, fishing, and doing small things like that. I had one day I decided, I said, look, I'm going to go in town, check on everything. We was building a new house. I had so much stress on me. I was coming to town, and I noticed something was weird about it. I didn't understand what was going on, but I pulled up to the light, and it looked like I looked up, and the sun was directly just beaming down on my eyes, and I just started looking around. I thought, man, am I losing my mind? The sun's falling in my face no matter what. At the meantime, I had no idea I was having a stroke. But I look over to my left, and this guy, I could barely see him through his windshield. He said, "Are you going to literally sit through another traffic light?" And I said, "What are you talking about?" He said, "Son, you've been sitting at this traffic light already one whole light, and now you fix to sit through it again." I said, "No, sir." So I'm able to get up off the road, get up across the sidewalk, pull into the T&W flea market. I immediately just don't. I can't get off the bike because I just was disoriented.
Right.
I just couldn't tell what was going on. So I was able to get the kickstand out, and I was able to stroll my phone down, and I realized I knew my wife. I put everything on W and warned my wife under W. So I was strolled all the way to the very bottom number. I knew it was the bottom number. I held it for probably about a half a minute, 30 or 40 seconds, and then I just hit it. And thank God it was my wife.
Wow.
She was coming to town anyway to pick up some more food for camping, and I said, "Shannon, I don't know what in the world just happened to me, but I can't see nothing hardly. Everything's like blurry." And she said, "What's going on?" I said, "I don't know. I mean, really, I was terrified at this moment. I had no idea what was going on." She said, "Well, just stay where you at. I'll be there in a minute. You at the flea market, right?" And I said, "Yeah, please hurry up." I'm thinking, my heart was just beating like 90 miles an hour.
Right.
She gets me in the car. I leave my bike there, literally running. That's what was the craziest thing. As I got to the hospital, we had to call somebody to go get my bike.
Right.
They take me in the back. They do a CAT scan. They're trying to figure out, well, what's going on with me. Check my blood pressure. This time, my heart's beating so bad they thought I was going to go into cardiac arrest. I had no idea what was going on. They started checking me and got me calmed down. I lay down in the bed. They said, just, you don't have to lay here about 30, 40 minutes. We're going to have to check a couple more things. I was there pretty much the whole night.
Wow.
Come to find out, the doctor and the nurse comes in, and they said, "Look, we're going to have to send you to a specialist, but it looks to us that you have had an optic nerve stroke." And I said, I have never in my life heard nothing like this in my life.
Right.
Man, so they take me back there again. The specialist comes in. He checks it. Yeah, he's had an optic nerve stroke. So they set me down, and they said, "Look, most of the time you will get most of your eye vision back. At this time I had eye vision, but it's real blurry. I mean, like somebody threw dirt and mud all over a window, and I'm trying to look through it and looking through a net, what it looked like too." So they said, "Go home. You can take this medicine, calm down. You need to relax, or you're gonna end up dying if you don't." I mean, it really scared me to death. I'm scared to death to go home. I wanted to stay at the hospital. They pretty much said, "It ain't nothing we can do right now. You're going to have to go to see this other specialist.
Wow.
We want to see you in a week." I go home. I mean, 2 days goes by, and it's getting worse and worse, and I'm getting these headaches. So I call them up. They said, "Look, come on in, because if you're getting headaches, there's something else going on." Naturally, I go to the Center for Sight. I believe it was the doctor the first one I went to see. They got me on some medicine and stuff. And I said, "Look, I cannot see nothing out my right eye no more. My left eye, I can barely identify people." And he started looking at what happened is my optic nerve had swollen up, and when the swelling started going down, it twisted. Like most people have strokes. You ever notice like the face will sag to the left or the right? Well, my eyeball and my optic nerve had a stroke behind my eye. They can't do surgery for me. They couldn't do anything because it's so close to my eye. He said, "Sir, you have lost all your eyesight. We got 5% over here." I could tell it was daylight and dark, and that was absolutely it. So my left eye still.
Was that both eyes?
No, ma'am, that's my right eye, and my
Okay.
left eye had like spots. It looked like if you look at the eye chart, it showed spots on the left eye. But I was able to see just enough to be able to, to function, like walk down the hallway, just take care of myself like that. But as far as going to work, trying to make a living for my family and all that's pretty much gone. I mean, it wasn't no way I was gonna be able to go to work or nothing. So what happened is I guess a couple of weeks went by, and I mean, this is just getting so to the point where, I mean, not only just not able to work, I mean, I'm losing things. You know what I mean? Being the man of the house, with the kids and all. I'm sorry, I'm emotional about this, but just trying to take care of my family like the man I was is no longer there. You know what I mean? I sat there and told my wife, I said, "I don't know what we're gonna do." I mean, we already now, this is coming around the third or fourth week, the bills are coming in. We have money set aside. But if this is where I'm going, you know, I said, I don't know what I'm going to do, Shannon. She said, babe, we'll work it out. If we have to just literally move to our old house and just some way we'll make it. You know, but I could see my wife. I could see it in her eyes. She's just trying to calm me down. So my son, he'd come to my shop. A good friend of his named, sorry. I'm sorry, I can't. It's getting to me, but
no worries, you're fine.
Tony Pearson comes along. He's a heck of a mechanic. My son is really good. They come and they pretty much kept my shop going. So I'd get my wife to bring me to the shop. I'd stand around the cars. They would explain to me what it would be doing. I would have to come, you know, just from my experience of different things, tell them what I think was wrong with these cars. Well, we went from making pretty decent money, a good living, to still scraping by because I'm still trying to support my son. I mean, for him coming over there and working, and my you know, his best friend Tony Pearson. I mean, it still didn't leave enough to take care of what we needed. So we ended up losing a lot of things. I mean, I can't even explain to you. I mean, just things that really meant a lot to us. We ended up letting them go back and this and that, and pretty much. I mean, racing was out of the question. I mean, It was not going to ever be no more racing again. I'm blind. I can't see. I mean, that's the one thing I've always loved doing. I always took care of my family first, and the racing was pretty much, it was relaxation. It was the best thing we had going for us, you know. So, I mean, it got to the point I couldn't even take care of my family. I mean, it was that bad. But my wife, still being a strong woman, backbone woman that she is, she kept on just driving and pushing me. You know, and I could tell my left eye was getting a little bit better here and there. Just, I mean, it wasn't much, but it got to the point where I could see enough. You know, I wasn't even supposed to be driving. I could drive around, just driving around. But that was the best it was going to get. So I guess.
At that point, Tommy, I'm sorry. At that point, you weren't really driving your own personal car around, correct?
Yes, ma'am. With my wife working and her having to leave different hours. I mean, I lived in McDavid. My shop was in Pensacola. It's like a 45-minute ride. I mean, I was risk-taking every day to go to work to support my family, and whatever it took, I had to do it. Well, I mean, it got to the point where my driver license was just about getting ready to so I had to renew them. And I knew I was in trouble then. I said, I ain't gonna never be able to get my driver license. You know, here I am driving illegal. I've never believed in nothing I'm saying illegal. I knew in my heart I couldn't see good enough. I shouldn't even been on the road, but I was doing it just to be able to support my family. I had people come every once in a while when it was really bad days. I said, look, I just can't make it. Can you please come get me? But there was days that everybody has a life. You know, they just couldn't drop everything they had. They had to really, you know, I mean, I ain't taking that from them. Everybody helped me 100%. But it was days that I had to take that chance and drive myself to work to make a living for my family, and I did it. But what happened is one day, I mean, it was just getting to the point where it was just actually, it was good enough that I could drive back and forth. Things was kind of working. I was staying weekends at the shop just to keep things going, not even coming home to my family, just to keep going. John Cody comes to me. I mean, once in a lifetime deal. Mr. Culpepper, which is on the race team that I had raced for this year, come to me and said, look, we want you to drive our race car. In the meantime, they don't really know the situation as bad as it is. John knew I was blind in one eye. He knew that I'm driving around and making it. But I tried to tell John, I said, look, I'll give it my best shot. I said, I might not ever get a sponsored ride of just driving somebody else's vehicle, and all I got to do is go out there and do my magic. So I get out there on the track and thinking, man, I can do this. I mean, it ain't nothing to it. This thing's got 600-700 horsepower under me, and everything that any man could. Race cars, stock cars, dirt cars, whatever it is, was always dreamed of. I crawl in this car, I get out there, I make about 3 laps, and I look like a fool. You know what I mean? In my heart, I'm saying, I can't drive this thing. I come in, they say, it's all right, you get used to it. I'm in my heart, I already know this ain't happening. I can't see nothing. Dirt's flying in, dust. I can't see the wall, the lights done dimmed off because it done got dark. Oh. I'm driving on a track completely, really blind. Might as well. It's like it'd be like putting a stocking around your face and trying to drive down the interstate 100 miles an hour. It's just not hardly going to happen. That's what I'm doing.
Right.
I'm up there, and I tell John, I said, I'm going to have to back out, man. You're going to have to give this ride to somebody else. And naturally, John, it just broke his heart. He said, no, Tommy, I didn't put my foot. He said, you need to really, think about it. Racing season only start 2 more weeks. This is just a practice session. We'll make it work. So, man, I'm about to go crazy. I tell my wife, I said, look, Shannon, I cannot do this. I'm going to end up getting somebody hurt or something. And she said, babe, let me tell you something. I know you can drive this. I watched you the other day. You did spin out a few times. There was a couple things you're doing. But just take your time. If you had to run last, just go out there and do it until Mr. Culpepper fires you. I want you to drive this car.
Right on.
You love to do this. And I said, I'll give it a shot. So we go out there one more time, which it was a little bit better, but I'm all over the place. I come back to shop, and I'm talking about, I guess it was on Wednesday, David Shear come up, and he had mentioned to me, he said, what's going on? I said, man, I got a ride of a lifetime. People just don't get this every day. I'm going to get to drive a car for free. All I got to do is show up at the track and just perform,
Yeah.
I'm all over the place, and he said, look, Tommy, he said, let me talk to you, son. He set me down. We had a cup of coffee and talked about a few things, and he said, look, I want to program some water for you. And at first I'm like, what in the world is he talking about? But really, I mean, I've always listened to David. He's always somehow or another pulled it off. You know what I mean? I'm really, at this point, I'm willing to do anything. You know what I mean? I'll give it a shot. So sure enough, I start. He programmed some water for me for my driving. My reflexes wasn't as quick, but the whole thing boiled down to it was really my eyesight. I couldn't really see, but he said, let's get you driving good. You can see good enough that I believe you can drive the car if you can get your reflexes back. And I said, all right. He said, well, let me ask you, Tommy. He said, who is your favorite driver? If you could be anybody on the track, who would you like to be? I mean, naturally, any race car driver, NASCAR driver, dirt track guy, anybody would want to be Dale Earnhardt. I mean, the Intimidator. And I said, that's the guy I would like to be, So if I got a chance at this and it's going to work, I want to be him. He said, well, I'm going to program you some water. That's what we're going to do. So I went out there, and it was the following week. We went out there, and I mean, the first race, jumped out there. And I think we won the heat race the first night out. And the feature, now I had to work for it. Now, because in the heat race, it was just it was just half the field. So they kind of fit me in, I knew they pretty much put me in a position where I had a better chance of, running. Front. I accidentally won the heat race. So get out there in the feature. I'm driving along there, and I mean, I can't see nothing. I mean, I'm driving like a maniac. I mean, I'm able to hold on to it, not lose it. And next thing I know, I'm running second place. And I said,
Wow.
my God, I might be able to win this thing. But I just could not judge the corners. I couldn't see the wall. It was like there was nothing over there on my right-hand side. So I'm having to look out my left and my right, just snatching my head back and forth that fast. And you see how fast that was. I mean, do that for 25 laps. Man, I'm about to rip my neck off my shoulders.
Right.
But I managed to pull a second place out, and we was a half a track behind, the main guy, which at this time was Chris Behi, the guy that I got outrun, the guy that my owner, Mr. Culpepper, wanted me to outrun from the beginning. He said, I don't care what you do, I don't care who you outrun, we got to outrun that guy. If you outrun that guy, you'll be the dominant guy of the year. You'll be able to win the championship and do the whole 9 yards. So we got out there, and we pull a second off, go through tech and everybody, and at this time, nobody don't really know what's going on, but I don't want to tell them either because I don't want them to throw me out and not let me race, and so right. I'm not saying nothing. So the following week, I come back out there, and I get out there, and we run a little bit better, but it didn't do us quite as good. I just didn't know what it was, and I said, I know what it was. I didn't call David Shear. So, I mean, I finished, I think, third or fourth that night, and I come back. I talked to David Shear, and I said, Mr. Shear, I need you to come over here. He said, I'm on my way, son. Well, I said, I need your help. So he comes over there, and I said, look, this is what the problem I got. I can't see the daggone wall. I don't know what's going on out there. I can't see. He said, Tommy, we're going to program you some water where you can start making your eyes come back and you'll be able to see. Then again, I still the same way, skeptical, not believing exactly, this could be possible. The one morning, this went on for probably about 3 or 4 weeks. Our racing's still decent. I'm running the top 2 or 3. one here, heat race or whatever. I'm laying in the bed, and our closet's over here to the right. It ain't no way in the world I should have even been able to see that closet. I'm laying on the left-hand side facing the hallway, and my wife comes walking out, and I said, "Hey, baby, you sure look sexy tonight. I mean, today." And she said, "What are you talking about?" I said, "I'm looking right," and I didn't even realize what was happening. Out my peripheral of my right eye, I could actually see her walking out of the daggone closet. And she said, "You quit picking with me. You're playing with me." I said, "No, for real." She sits on the corner of the bed, and I said, "I'm telling you, I see you." She puts her hand over my eye like this, and she said, "Okay, tell me what I'm doing." And she sticks her tongue out at me, and then said, "How many fingers I'm holding?" I tell her, and I'm telling you, that day right there was the most. We sat there for probably 30 minutes and just sit there and cried about it, because I said, "It really works. I can see you, Shannon. This is amazing." And she said, "God, mate, you need to call David and tell him." So first thing, I'm on the phone. I'm calling David. Man, I just saw my beautiful wife walk out of the closet. And he said, "What the heck are you talking about, Tommy?" I said, I can see out my right eye. Just not really good, but I can see. I can see there, I can see it was her. And he said, "You got to be kidding me." So that week, I went out to the races, and we won the heat and the feature. I think three times in a row that first go around? We won the heat and the feature 3 in a row, and everybody was like blown away. We in the pit meeting, and they said they called me the closer, because I'm always like closing the deal. Somehow I would get up there and win the race. And they said, "How are you doing that?" I said, "Man, I'm gonna tell you what. If I tell you the truth, you promise you don't say nothing. None of the officials." All my buddies are just like freaking out. I said, "I've been blind, man. I'm blind in my right eye. My eyesight has just come back." And they said, "What are you talking about?" I said, "For all them other races that we've been running, I mean, Blake Martin knew it. I mean, Chris Beha, Ricky Haugen, I mean, a bunch of the guys, Stuart Wilson, Scooter Grice, all of them knew I was blind in my right eye, but they didn't know how bad." And then when my eyesight come back, they said, how you been doing this?" I said, "It's the water, man." They said, "Oh, I want some whatever you got, because you were one bad mama."
Right.
Yeah. So what it was, we won 3 in a row. I'm talking about, it wasn't just the heats. I mean, it was the features and the heats. We brought the trophies home, and I was telling David Shearer, he said, he has just been working on me. We're gonna get it so good. Well, I mean, at this time, I'm just glad to be able to see my wife in spots in my right eye, and able to see colors and stuff like that. Basically, what I done is it just got to the point where, I mean, honestly, I could see the wall. My reflexes were back. Anything I had that I needed, I said, David, I mean, it was like a joke at first to me, but it was really, David was 100% positive through the whole thing. But then it got to the point where, I mean, I was bugging the heck out of David. He said, "Look, Tommy, hey, I'm there for you, buddy. You need something, you let me know." So it got to the point where I was drinking water. I mean, I drank a gallon of water, man, literally probably a day. I mean, it's no lie, because I just like water. I mean, I caught myself one night getting up out of the bed. I could see my depth, I could see further out, and I said, "My God, it's just getting crazy." So I get in there, I drink probably 2 big old glasses of water that night, and I wake up the next day and sorry about that, not realizing I'm believing in myself so much. Everything's working perfect. David's staying right there behind me. We got out there, and I'm telling you, we have just totally just something that's never been done out there. Southern Speedway has just dominated the class. I mean, we had won, I think, probably 11 or 12 races at Southern. We went to Baker. We won the heat and the feature over there. It got to the point where if somebody didn't run over my car and blow a tire out, and if I could just something didn't break on the car, we was going to win the race, or had the best chance. We had a second or a first regardless. And I mean, David had me polished up like you ain't never seen. I'm talking about, I was even starting to look a little prettier. No, I'm just kidding.
But, you always have.
Yeah. But, it was a blast though. But now here it is. We won the championship, not by a few points or just barely skimming by. I mean, we won it like 300 plus points, and that's something, I mean, to be recognized. I mean, because a lot of these guys that's able to see with both their eyes, I ain't taking nothing from them, nothing. But I'm gonna tell you what happened to me. I lost my eyesight, and I remember I took everything for granted, and walk out on your back porch anytime. Any people, the people that can see right now, just go outside, and especially if you live in the country like I did. You hearing the birds chirping, squirrels. I mean, it got to the point I was waking up 5, 6 o'clock in the morning, sitting on my porch, having a cup of coffee, enjoying the atmosphere, the birds chirping, the squirrels, stuff that I just walked out the door and went straight to work, straight to a
Right.
weld, working on cars and stuff that I just took for granted. And when all that come back, and I was able to see it again, oh my God, it was the most, it was the best thing I've ever experienced in my life. And I will never, I take every day like it's my last day of seeing. My son is my heart. And it's great. And I owe it all to my buddy over here for pushing me and able to really work with me. And God, it hurts. But I mean, he does. He's the greatest. And I think Peter, all of them coming on board, helping me out. And if it weren't for them, I would have never made it as far as I did. And I'm gonna tell you, every day I'm still getting up, and I'm a charger, man. I'm gonna tell you, as long as this good old Lord and this water keeps on working for me, I'm gonna use it to my advantage. God, I'm blessed, and people that's out there has these problems, can't see, or just any kind of problem, give it a chance, you know. Let somebody talk to you, because it can happen to you too. All you do is got to believe, and if you believe it, I mean, I'm a prime example for it. I am the most happiest man. If you took everything from me right now, because I've had it taken from me,
Right.
and able to be able to see again, I mean, that was the best. That is a blessing by itself, and that's about my story right there. But I'm just blessed to be able to see my good-looking boy over here, and beautiful David Shear, and especially you, Donna. But,
Well, you
that's
know.
about it. And I wish, you know, we got this new thing. I think we got a few more days on this crowdfunded thing.
Yes.
Talked to a bunch of my racing buddies, and everybody's pumped. They want to see me in that race car because they know that I'm a bad mama. And Kyle Busch, I'm telling you, I've got it. I might be 50 years old, but I'm gonna tell you what, I feel like a young man again. And I got, if anybody out there don't believe it, throw a few dollars on the table, help me out a little bit here, and I guarantee you, I'll get out there and shine. I can drive a car. A lot of people knows I know how to drive it sideways, wide open, full throttle. It don't matter, no matter what it takes to get to front. And just give me that chance, and just come on my Facebook, Tommy Warren Jr. Racing. And I mean, I don't care if it's 50 cents or even a comment. I mean, I've been telling people, just leave a comment where the other people know really who I am. You know, not just this is Tommy Warren Jr. I mean, just hearing what people say about me should say it all. I mean, they know I'm a good person. I'm an honest race car driver. I mean, I'm not going to run somebody over. If I can't pass you without running you over, I'll sit back another couple more laps or wait till you wear your stuff out and I'll come back and get you at the end. But
Go.
I would really, one of the biggest things I would love to do is run the snowball derby. That has always been my lifetime dream, to be able to try to enter, just to enter into snowball derby. Give me that chance, and I believe that we got just as good as chances. I mean, Kyle Busch. I mean, you think any of them. I mean, we can just run with the best of them. I guarantee it. Just give me the shot, and I won't prove you wrong.
There you go.
That's exactly where it goes. But
That's
I love
awesome.
everybody. They know it.
You know, that's awesome. And you have quite the story. And one, as you talked about it, you know, and as I'm listening, and I kind of kept myself off the camera just so that you can tell your story, because it's absolutely incredible. And, you know, everything that you've talked about has just been just mind-blowing, you know, especially with you driving and having, you know, just very little vision. Now, I myself, you know, you've mentioned your wife Shannon a few times, and I just want to give out the biggest shout out to Shannon, just because, you know, she was there, and as you know, a wife that definitely is supportive as she is, I've got to say, a huge thank you to her, and just listen to you talk about her, and you can just feel the love between the two of you. So that's exciting. But just to hear her and her knowingness that, you know what, you're going to do this thing. And to me, that is it's just awesome just to hear how supportive and how amazing she's been through all of this. I know that it had to have been something very, pretty scary for not just you, but for your wife, your children, for, everyone that knew you, to see you, you're fine one day, the next minute, boom. And you're right. I think it's a nice little lesson for all of us as to, you can't take anything for granted. I mean, each day is just, we just don't know, and each day is just a special day. And I got to tell you, through your incredible story, it's, definitely one that has given, I'm sure, a lot of folks hope. And for me, it just resonates that a reminder, a nice little quiet reminder that we take everything is special, and we treat it as such. And we go through our day just kind of being mindful and doing the things that we love to do. And here you are, perfect example,
Yes,
because
ma'am.
you're still doing what you love through all that adversity. I think that's absolutely just amazing. Now, kind of going back to David Shear. David, I know you've known David for a while now, correct?
Yes, ma'am. Yeah. He actually was. I'll be honest with you. We used to call him the gatekeeper. Oh, Lordy, that's funny. I'm sorry, but he come on. What was it called? I mean, he was a. What was it?
That was the census enumeration.
Yeah, that's what it was. The census. He come through to hold on and talk to us about the census. I know y'all have heard of it. When it come, see how many kids are living in the house. And it started out like that. He come in, and I mean, he was such a great guy that day. We actually sat down and talked like we've been friends for 20 years at that time. And he was just a cool dude, and I liked him right off the bat. And believe it or not, I guess a couple weeks later, he come back by again. And I mean, we hit it off like that. And he's just this incredible person. I mean, a lot of people don't really give people that kind of time. And he come back. He knew that we just talked. We hit it off. I mean, he has always been there for me. A pleasant person to sit down. If you want the honesty, the truth, or whatever, he's got it. I mean, he'll lay it on the line. If sometimes you might not like what you hear come out of his mouth, but he is always, 90% of the time, he's always been right to me. I mean, it's like he knows I'm a good mechanic. He can bring his car to me, and he knows I'm gonna give him the best deal. Pretty much take care of him. He ain't got to worry about it. And when he come to me and talk to me, I knew, listen, I would stop at everything. When he rolled up, I'd go talk to him because he's always had something very important to talk about. And it was interesting. I mean, you sit down and have a 30, 45-minute conversation with him. Basically, every time he would show up, I'd use that for my lunch break just to get to hear what he had to say because it was always important and enjoyed it. It was always some outrageous something that anybody would. If anybody walked up, they would stop in their tracks to listen to it, and even my boys at the shop was always interested in everything he ever had to say. So he's a smart man, and I'm always been pleased just to hear what he has to say. But that's my buddy over there.
Well, right on, and of course, yes, he is a pretty special guy, and just a wonderful guy to have around, and.
Yes, ma'am.
So exciting that, he, kind of came in there and started programming that water,
Oh, I know.
for you.
I mean, I've never seen anybody. It was, I tell you what it was. When there's something would happen, like I say, David, I think I could see shadows, or I could see I think I see a silhouette of something. It would make him just go that much faster. I mean, he would literally. Honest to God, he'd spend his last dollar just to come check on me. And I said, David,
Right.
you do that. But that's how, a lot of people don't have friends like that. And, you pick up the phone, call them, some of them say, I'll get to you. I mean, David would be there like a post stamp. I'm talking about, bam, he would go. I said, oh, my God. When you just use, I'm talking about a 45-minute ride to my house. He'll show up. And I've always admired that about him, and that's anytime he'd come to me, I'd be Johnny on the spot. It wouldn't matter what it was, I would help him out. He's that kind of guy, and he's a very loving, caring person. He loves my family, my kids. He's just the greatest, and I'll never forget. To the day they throw me in a hole. He's one of my best friends, and I love him to death.
Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome. Well, let's do this. I know we've got some questions here for you.
Okay.
And so I want to ask some questions and of you. So let's get some questions answered. So a couple of questions that we have about your car. And you know what? If you would, Tommy, kind of take us back and just a little bit and tell us about your car, because you do primarily, is it vintage racing?
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
Okay.
It's a 32 Bantam. A 32 Ford.
34.
I'm sorry, yeah. My son just corrected me. It's a 34 Ford. I had a 32 Bantam. I keep on throwing it, but 34 Ford. Probably approximately. Well, it's according, the way the rules go. But normally we got anywhere from 5 to 750 horsepower in this thing. It's according. One night we didn't need to have the good motor in it, because there's some nights, some fellas, you got to be ready. You got to know what to throw in them. It's got a 3-speed transmission with a 9-inch Ford rear end up on it. We got disc brakes all the way around it. Our car weighed, we always was 100 pounds overweight, because we had a certain type of heads that required us to, the first part of the season, that we had to run the extra 100 pounds, which it was the association class, which we didn't sign up with, but we would have to race them, and I didn't want to get thrown out, so I just toted 100 pounds extra. Everybody else weighs 2650, and my car weighed 2750, and it's just 8-inch tires. It's a little tires, and you're weighing 2,750 pounds with anywhere from, like I said, 550 to 700 horsepower. It's just like when you hit the gas, your neck gets whipped back like that. Anybody that drives these things pretty much will flat out tell you, if you can drive one of these vintage cars, you can drive anything. And I've heard that from just about anybody. Everybody that's come up there, some of the big guys, the modified drivers, the super late models, all of them says, man, I just can't believe you can wheel this thing like that. And a lot of it is in the foot control. A lot of people like stand on it and just burn the tires off. You got to finesse that thing. It's just like rubbing your hair through your wife's head. When you like combing her hair, brush, and you don't just get up and yank it back. You got to look at her do it real easy.
You don't like
it. You got to finesse it. You got to just love it to death. And
just like that.
Yeah, there you go. You got to do it easy. So and driving it, you got to be a little aggressive, but at the same time, you got to be able to just know when to give it the juice. In other words, give it the gas, and knowing which way to turn it before you get. Most time, I'm always looking ahead. You got guys that's all over the place because they trying to stay off of the next guy. So it's like a chain reaction deal. One guy jumps sideways, then the next guy's got to jump sideways, then you got to set up to get back under the guys. So you always checking, brake checking. And then you do that for 20 to 25 laps and try to be successful. It's a hard thing to do. Sometimes we've come back from the rear, just I've spun out. Matter of fact, we had a bunch of camera crew guys up there next to the last time come out there. We had a steering wheel coming off, literally fell off. I have one bolt holding it on. I drove all over my buddy, Stuart Wilson. I had no choice. I went to go turn the car in the corner, and the wheel just spun in my hand, and a nut landed in my lap.
Oh, no.
The radio, I heard they come on and say, Tommy, we're going to have a restart. Get back up here. I'm sitting there trying to find the bolt that fell off and trying to stick it back in there. And I was able to get away with that. Normally I would have had to go ahead and go to the rear. But I get up there anyway, and I end up getting crossed up, spinning out, coming to the rear. And then I was tightening the bolts of the steering wheels, and we finally got all the way back there, finessed that little sweetheart, and we got it all the way back up to second, right behind my buddy, James Ward, my teammate, and we got a first and second. One of the biggest nights of the year, and an accomplishment of the whole thing was, it's one thing my daddy always told me. He said, son, no matter what you do in life, if you give it your all and
right.
You never give up, you will at the end you will prevail, and that's what I did that night. And even the TV crew guys was watching me. They saying, "My God, will you never quit tightening bolts?" I only had two. If one more fell out, I'd lose complete steering. So it was a handful, and we done I thought it was an absolutely awesome job that night. We come out, got to stand up on the top of the cars and shine like a bunch of silver bullets out there. We was tickled to death. But that was a good night there for sure. Which now the next week would come out, and it was champion thing called Night of the Champions. We led every lap. We won the championship, and we won the Night of the Champions race. So I mean, you can't ask for no better than that. That was one of the best nights of my life there. So it was awesome. And they got all my fans down there. I mean, if they brought every one of them out of stands, I love kids to death. Between my two marriages, I had 11 kids I took care of, and half of them were mine, and they still call me daddy. And
Right.
I'd have had 50 kids if I could have done it. You know what I mean? Because I love kids, and you can see it. Just about any time I come to track, I'm signing autographs. I always take the time out. This one man, particularly Bobby Allison. One time I went down in the pits, and I think I was 12 or 13 years old. I was at the Rattlesnake 300, and I want you to know Bobby Allison come over and signed my hat, and he took the time out and done that. And I said, if I'm ever able to get big, or even I'm gonna always take the time out for my friends, the people that comes to actually makes the show worth it. I mean, if you ain't got fans and people come watching you, you ain't got no show. So I always took the time out to sign whatever they want. So I've signed T-shirts, arms, foreheads. I mean, I've had markers places that people probably pass out, but I signed everybody. But I just love it, and I am so blessed to be able to come back and do what I did this year. And I still think there's still some spark in this old man. So.
Oh, I'm sure there is. So I got another question for you. What goes through your mind right before the start of the race?
Well, I look at my drivers ahead of me. You figure like Blake Martin, that boy can drive a car, I'm telling you. I know what he's going to do almost before he does it, and sometimes it ain't even his fault. It's just the people that's around him. We got Blake Martin, and we know Stuart Wilson going to drive the wheels off. We know Chris Beha is going to be one bad mama. So I play back all the races that I have raced already to this point. And I remember, Chris Beha likes the cushion. He likes to ride on the outside and just stand on it. And I'm already knowing if I get up there, I can if I can get ahead of him and I can take that away from him, it's going to be a heck of a race. I mean, somebody's going to get pushed all over the track, But sometimes when you start in the back, you just got to look at the whole picture and kind of figure out which ones do what. So that's what I'm doing. Now, most of the time I'm sitting back just right up to the green flag before the race starts. I'm pretty much play back and everybody the way they drive, and I'll try to execute that. By each car I pass, I know what they're going to do almost before they do it, and that's something else that David Shearer's programmed for me, because used to I never looked at it like that. He said it's like it slows the picture down. I know what's going to happen. I know he's going to push high. I know this guy's going to hug the bottom, or this guy's going to ride the cushion, or this guy's going to cut my nose off. So it all plays in a factor as the race goes through, and if you hit everything just perfect before you know it, you're leading the race and you got the checker flag and you got the trophy holding it up and having a blast, So that's what we've been really fortunate about, and I think the advantage has been is me able to read the speedway and the track and the car, and able to drive it like it's somebody just literally stole it off the car lot and trying to get away from the cops. I mean, I was driving the wheels off of it, so it's a blast, man, and that would pretty much sum up what I would be doing at the beginning of the race. So, you got another one?
I do. And you kind of alluded to this, but what's it feel like? What's it feel like driving a race? Take us through that for you.
Well, I'm trying to put it in y'all's perspective how y'all would. To me personally, it would be like, now I flew on when I got burnt when I was a kid, 3 years old. We used to have to fly. I would have to fly Learjet to Cincinnati, Ohio, because I've had over third-degree burns on my face.
Ooh.
All over me. And when the Learjet would take off, you would feel in that thing as the plane it takes off towards the sky. Well, this car weighs so less, And anybody that's flew in an airplane knows how it sends you in the seat. Well, just figure that when you the G's you get off it when you nail this thing. I mean, instantly. I mean, you go from 0 to 70 to 100 miles an hour sometimes. I mean, if you really get enough bite off the corner, you can reach 80, 90 miles an hour down the back straightaway. And just sucking you in, you'll feel your whole body just like cave in, and you get in the corners, the G forces just takes your head over to the right, and you constantly. That's why they have the neck brace to keep your head where you can keep focused on the track where you at. But and just the power. I mean, just the roar. It's just like imagine this just grabbing a line by the back of his ears and just trying to hold on him and without him throwing you off. Imagine that. Then your own mind just say, I'm gonna jump on this line and just try to ride him for about a mile, and that's what it feels like when you get one of these cars. It's a handful. It'll throw you every which way you ever would dream of, and then the taking off, the power you would feel. I believe that would be my theory of telling you how that's what it would seem like if I jumped on the back of a full-grown line, a mean one. That's how I would feel jumping in this car and standing on it. Sure would.
Nice. That's awesome. That's awesome. So another question that we have here. What is the most important thing for you in winning?
What is the most important and what?
What's the most important thing to you in winning a race?
I've learned over the years, always respect the drivers that you race against. Don't take them out. Don't push them out of the way, because that will take you out. If you pushing somebody around, knocking them off the track, they'll come back and get you. So that's one of the things you always race at every driver, clean as you possibly can. I mean, rubbing is racing, but crashing, I mean, that's just taking somebody flat out. But I've always took care of my equipment, not over revved it. You know, I just pretty much I give it just exactly what it needs. You know, we don't always hit it perfect. Sometimes you got all the motor and the horsepower, but you just can't flat drive it. So you're able to just kind of work the medium. You know, but biggest thing is just trying to keep the car up under you, save your car for the end of the race. You can't win the race on the first lap, and be there at the end.
And having fun. And having fun.
And having fun naturally, but yeah, I've always just been able to manage that part. I mean, save your tires. I mean, you can burn your tires off in 5 laps if you really want to act crazy, but you save it, sit there and save and save and save, and then when you see everybody else start slowing down, and it works on your body. Before you know it, oh God, if I can't turn this car not one more corner, I mean, you're just literally pushing that car around that track every lap. It will wear on your arms. So if you kind of just relax and just play your cards right, don't get crashed, save the car to the end, you'll start passing people, and then the job just gets easier and easier from there on. You know, and just that was one of the best things. I mean, I was able to do. I was able to drive like Dale Earnhardt, finesse it when I needed to, just save the car, the tires, and execute on the last 5 or 6 laps. I mean, one night we literally come from about half the field. I think 5 laps ago, wasn't it, David? And we come all the way back up there, and we literally won the race. Like, I mean, it was the easiest thing I ever done in my life. But everybody, I mean, all my fans just loved the way they said, man, you keep us on the edge of the seat, basically. He said, I got this one particular girl. She said her and her boyfriend comes out there, and she says, Tommy, you literally about fall off the bench every time. She says, you will do things that I have never seen before, and you pull out, and you make it look like you done it 100 times. I said, telling you on dirt, asphalt you can get away with that, but dirt, I mean, I'm telling you, it'll bite you. You go out there, step out, and you got somebody sideways 80, 90 miles an hour, and you got a tire that's coming right in your door, and you gotta drive through that and save it, and then pass them at the same time. It's hard to do. So it makes it a lot exciting. It's a blast. I enjoy watching the race. I enjoyed racing with these guys, and just being able to race one of them the way we did. It was just an experience come true. I mean, they are awesome. So I know I drugged that a little far, but I just had to throw that little bit in there for you, young lady.
Well, you know what? That's awesome. And let's take a moment just to say hello to Karen. Karen is out there, and so say hi to Karen Boyd, I believe it is. And so definitely want to say hi to Karen. And Karen is wondering, how can she ask questions, Karen? If you're in Facebook, you can ask questions right there in Facebook. We'll see your questions. Or on YouTube, if you scroll down under the video, you should be able to put a comment in there or ask your questions right there under the video in YouTube. So definitely go ahead and get your questions in there. Tommy, say hello to Karen.
Is it Karen Boyd?
Yes, it is Karen Boyd.
How you doing? Yeah, that's my actually my little nephew, Rocky Boyd's wife, and I just love the whole family. They've always been out there pushing the envelope for us and telling us we're doing a good job and making sure that, I mean, the family, you got to have family. If they don't show up, like I've always told my wife, I said, the more family comes out here and the more people, the harder I'll drive. And when I see one of them come out there to watch me race, I mean, that just makes the strive of me driving that car till the wheels blow off. I will do it. But yeah, hey, Karen, Rocky, all them little kids, I love them to death. Say hey, David.
Howdy.
Mr. Cowboy. We call him the shirtless cowboy.
Not shirtless. Shirtless.
Shirtless cowboy.
Right,
I had to make him put a shirt on.
Well, very cool. Okay. I'll check to see if she's written a question in for us. But I have one. How draining is driving a race?
How crazy it is driving
How
a race?
draining?
How? Say it one more time. I'm sorry, Donna.
How draining? Like, how draining is it when you're just...
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm gonna tell you what. When you're in that car, when you're in that car and you first get in that car, you already pumped up pretty good. You don't really realize it at a time. You getting out there and you driving that thing hard as you can. Now, usually if you got a car that ain't handling that well, you'll get to the point where your arms will get kind of play out on you. But I mean, just steady getting at it, you don't realize it. When you really realize it, it's the trip when you get in the truck to go home. As you're driving home, you get to the house, you crawl out, and you realize, man, my legs are sore because you held the gas down, steady finessing that gas, and my back of my shoulder's starting to hurt. And you start getting them things, you're just like, God almighty. So I get home. I think when I'm at home, take my shower, and I crawl out and get into bed, I realize I had a hard day. I've did my job. It does drain everything out of you, especially these long races. It will drain everything out of you.
And it also loses that big fat belly layer.
Yeah, it works on all your little muscles that you didn't know you had.
Yeah, that's true. That is absolutely true. So, David, let's talk a little bit about you while we have you here with us this evening. So, David, what are your plans? Do you also enjoy, I know you enjoy watching your dad doing his thing. How about you? What do you have planned?
Racing next year with him.
Awesome.
What class are you going to be running?
Pure stock.
Yeah.
David, you got to talk to us like we don't know anything. Tell us all about it.
Well, Pure Stock is a floor class for starters out, and my dad's going to be helping me out for me to get where I need to be and for my career.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
He wants to follow Daddy's footsteps, and so I'm going to try to give him everything, all the tools that he needs. And I believe he's got it. I mean, we raced over there the short track Talladega Speedway, which is a go-kart track they had over there. And, they had, I don't know, they must have had 60 or 70 go-karts over there. We went over there tonight. It really was just going to be a joke. We was going to go over there.
I had a smaller motor engine, and I was up there 20th, and it was for practice, and we came in, and the guy told us that there's no way I was running up there with him with a slower motor, and he said, I got 50 of these motors, I'll give you one of them for free and
to
see
run the
how you
nice
do.
race. And we put it on there, and he went out there. I mean, he barely made the field with it. Now, he did make the race with his motor, but we put that other motor on it. And, I mean, there was 2 number 3s out there. We painted up just like Dale Earnhardt's race car, and he got out there, and I kept on saying, "Dang, there's three. That looks like David." I mean, because there's so many of them, you can't really tell, But then I started seeing stickers and stuff. I said, "That's David." And me and my buddy G, which is Tommy Garrison, yeah, he said, "Yeah, that's David. That's definitely David." I want you to know that little rascal come in third place. I mean, it blew us away, and I mean, we went up there as a joke just for him to go out there, and he ended up showing us up. He goes out there and shines like a silver bullet, man. I was so proud of him. And so, I mean, hopefully we get this car. We got him a car already going together. We're gonna get him a little motor in this thing, a beginner car. It's a beginning class. Which them boys they run. I mean, that is it a pure stock class they call them? Them guys run 75, 80, 75, 80 mile an hour. I mean, they are flat flying. So, and it's gonna be probably around 2,900 pound car. And we're gonna see if he's got it. I believe he does. He looks like a lot like his daddy, and I think he can drive like him too. So I'm gonna give him all I know and his new experience of everybody has a different style, and I just got to figure it out. I believe we got a good eye on him, and I think he's gonna do well in it.
That's awesome. So let's go back to Karen's question, and Karen wants to know. She says, "Hi guys. Love to watch you race and win. Will you ever go back to asphalt racing?"
Well, I do have a couple people that's talking to me right now. We're trying to get up some, the money to be able to fund the whole thing. We're working on this funding thing for the Kyle Busch ride, and if it don't work out, I mean, we're gonna still execute it the best way we can. But I'm believing there's a couple people out there that really would just give us a shot at it. I believe I could really do a good run for them. But me and Mr. Culpepper have been talking about. Mr. C was talking about a couple of times. Maybe just taking a car and run out and I know we're gonna take the vintage car and go out there and run the 2 or 3 races on asphalt. And now twice this year I didn't get a chance to go out there because we was having several little problems. But was able to take James Ward out there. He led probably 10 laps, and we had something for him that night, but he had a transmission seal blowing out oil on the clutch and the back wheels, and he had to end up falling out. But I mean, the boy drove the wheels out, and we put our setup in it. Me and John Cody and Miss C throwed our setup in that thing with a little few things I know about asphalt. I throwed him a few things, told him what to do, and so I'm gonna tell you, like I told James, I said next year we're gonna be out there. We're gonna put it on them. We got the Spears family out there. Ben Spears and all of it usually wins it. We got Ricky Haugen's pretty tough out there. But we will be out there with a vintage car running a few of those races. When they do come out there, we're gonna see if we can bring one of those trophies home. With my experience on asphalt, I believe, well, on dirt, we had the equipment. We had the funding to be able to put the tires on it. Whatever I needed, Mr. C made sure, John Cody and Mr. C made sure I had whatever I needed. So on the asphalt thing, it's the same thing. You can't go out there halfway, have a nice car and not a good motor. You got to have the whole package deal. So with Mr. Culpepper, if I can get him to come on board and help me out a little bit, and a few other people, I just don't see how in the world we cannot win on asphalt. With my experience of driving, finessing, I believe I'm just as good as the next person. I mean, I don't never have ever cut anybody down if they're driving. But I think whoever wins that race that day, I feel like when I show up at the track, I feel like I should be a threat because I'm gonna drive that car just like the winner would. I know I can drive. It all plays into really a lot of, you got to make sure you have good luck on the track. I mean, it takes luck. Somebody knows how to wheel a car, and you got to have the horsepower, the handling car, be able to save the tires for the end of the race, and just pretty much that's pretty much sums all of it up. You just got to be able to have it all. You can't go out there with a car that ain't gonna have enough horsepower to pull you around the track, and that's usually what happened. We would always had a good-looking car. We always had a good shock package, car handle like a dream, but we was always like that short, that little bit, the 50. I mean, you just say these guys running a $10,000, $15,000, $20,000 motor. We out there trying to outrun them with a $6,000, $7,000 motor. That just ain't gonna happen. But we ran good. I mean, we finished top 5, win one here and there. So if I really believe in my heart, the way I feel now and the way I look at life and the way I drive that car, somebody gives me a car as good as the winner's car, I believe I can be just as I believe I have just as good a chance as the guy that won the race. Just give me that chance, and I guarantee it. And come back to us coming back to asphalt. I will definitely race asphalt again, as long as my eyesight's there. My son's I'm getting him on dirt, give him some good experience there. I'm gonna pretty much I'm gonna be showing him all the ropes, and so you people out there at Five Flags Speedway, Mobile International Speedway, right over there at Opp, Alabama, we're gonna come out there and we're gonna give you a handful of racing. So and there's still some spark in me, so I'll be back on asphalt for you know.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So let me ask you now. You've got some folks on Facebook, okay? So I want to say, let's give a shout out to John Taylor, April, and Tommy.
Okay,
So,
yeah.
you know who those folks are?
Yeah, John Taylor, that boy right there can drive a car now. I am so proud of him. He builds robotic parts for the I think just about is it robotic equipment?
Engineer.
He's an engineer. I mean, he's been going to school for God all his life. I mean, he is very intelligent. The kid just got it, man. And on a racetrack, well, I can go back one night. I mean, I went out there. He won the championship. He asked me, he said, Uncle Tommy, he said, is there any way you can get out here and we'll get a car where and win this championship? Just help me. This one guy has just been leaning on me all year long. And I said, I got you back. We threw the car all together. I mean, it was a piece of junk, but we got out there, and sure enough, this guy was a handful. He leaned on him every chance. I got up there and kind of used it. I just blocked for him where the guy wouldn't wreck him, take him out for the championship. And I did my job without hurting anybody. We just pretty much got out there, and I stayed right behind John, and that rascal went out. I mean, he didn't even need me. I looked up there. He got hit one time by the guy. Next thing I know, John was gone. So it worked out good. I think we tore that race car all to pieces, though. We rubbed the walls a couple times here and there. But, yeah, he's a great kid. And then we got, was it Thomas Taylor or Tommy? Or it might be my son now. My son's out there. It might have been him. His name's Tommy Warren III.
Well, John Taylor, and I see, and then April and Tommy Geary's?
Oh, Tommy Garrison, April. Yeah, they
H-R-E-S.
My crew member.
Yeah, it's Larry.
Larry. Yeah, David calls him Larry, but yeah, that's G Meister. We call him G Meister.
Hi, G Meister.
Yeah, he's good. And then April, sweet April, I tell you what. Every time we would come home from the racetrack, I'd pull my car around. I try to feed them and everything. The woman would not eat, and they get out there, and I'm talking about they would scrub that car, give it a bath. It looked brand new G would pretty much orchestrate it, and then she would pretty much get her girls, and they get out and they wash that thing, and it would be sparkling by the end of the day. Wax on, wax off. I'd always pick on them. But them girls, they are wonderful, and I love every one of them. If it wasn't for them, I mean, it took everything to win the championship this year. With my eyesight problem, right down to G being my crew member, my father, Tommy Warren Sr., my wife, you got to have a good wife, and she was always right there behind me, pushing me and making sure I did the right things, and never once broke down, and just, she was the backbone of me that kept me going, and yeah, I mean, she was there for me, and she never gave up on me. And then we got Tommy Garrison and April. We got Angel. We got her best friend. What's her name? You know all of them. You got to thank them, son. Robin and Robin and everybody. I mean, it took everybody to do this. But what the outcome was is the Culpeper Racing Machine, John Cody, Tommy Warren Jr. I mean, we drove it and we won the championship. We spanked their butt, and I was so proud of it. I didn't realize how bad we done it till the end of the year. I mean, because I was just racing every race, and my son's the one that kept up with that. He was saying, "Dad, can you believe you're 100 points ahead of everybody? Dad, can you believe we're 150?" I said, "Really?" I mean, I know I was doing good, but at the end of the year, I think it was 319,
350.
I don't know exactly what it was. I know it was over 300 points, and we had pretty much walked away from everybody. I think we could have stopped racing 2 months before that and probably still won the championship. But them old boys are tough. I mean, you can't take nothing from them at all. I mean, you got to. Old Marshall Spears, I mean, one heck of a guy, nicest person you ever want to talk to. I told him when we first met him, I said, listen, I'm going to tell you something, Marshall. You sit me looking at you. I said, before this year's over, you're going to love me to death. You remember that, Marshall? I know you're watching this show.
Hey, Marty.
Blake Martin, same dude. A bunch of loving family. I mean, Blake Martin's family is awesome. They come out to the races. I mean, they bring their family, just like I do. He's got his daddy. His daddy is awesome. I mean, he constantly working on his car. I mean, one night they tore the car all to pieces. I wasn't even expecting him to be back. Was leading the race, blowed the motor, and tore his car all up. And I mean, I didn't think he'd be back. He was back. I'm telling him, practice day. I mean, he was ready to go racing. And his daddy always kept it going. His family, his wife, his daughter, great people. I loved being part by them. Then naturally we got James Ward. I mean, one tough kid. I mean, that boy is going to be somebody. He's tough. John Cody, we call him Batman. That boy, hey, I love him to death. He's my brother-in-law. My sister, Teresa. That's John Cody and Teresa Cody. If it wasn't for John Cody believing in me enough to talk to Mr. C to give me the chance, I would have never known if I could still drive a car the way I do. It just inspired me just to be able to just wheel that car around the track and shine, and just to see Mr. C ball up them little fists. Heck yeah, he got him. You know, I mean, I loved it. And thank you, Mr. Culpepper, for everything, and your wife. They are a bunch of great people. I love them.
That's awesome. And you know, I have a shout out, and I know you have the same shout out, but let's shout out to Donna.
Okay, hey Donna, how you doing, girl?
Hey Donna. Big, huge shout out to Donna. I was able to give her a call and chat with her about, you know, some of the things that she does, and not just for you, but for some of the other racers as well, where she videotapes, I believe, you know, the racing, correct?
Yes, ma'am. I mean, really, when I first come out there, she was like videoing and John Cody and stuff like that, and I wanted to get in that because you know, my wife used to video all my races at Five Flags Speedway, and I would learn off of what my car would be doing. So I told Don, I said, look, if you'll videotape me every race I'm in, I mean, she wouldn't take no money though. I mean, I said, let me give you 5, 10, 20. She wouldn't take it, but I'd end up giving it to her, one of her kids, or her husband, or somebody got some money every week. And I think I still owe you money, Donna, by the way. But
you know, I can say for certain that I'm sure for what Donna does, I mean, what she's doing out there is just, it's one of those things that it's just, the money is just, she's doing it for the love it. Let me put it that way. I know she is, especially as she says she doesn't want to take any money for it. But I'm glad that you do, you know, at least offer that to her, because I know she's providing such a valuable service. But a huge shout out to Donna and everything that she's out there doing. And I gotta say, you know, like I said, I don't know a lot about racing, but I can tell you what it sounds like to me is a huge family event where everybody is just, it's all about family. Sounds like you guys have some, you know, I'm just envisioning some great family interactions, and everyone's there supporting each other, and friends and family come out every week or whenever you are racing just to be supportive and to, you know, to cheer you on. So I think that's extremely awesome. I saw someone else on your Facebook page. Let me flip back over here and see, who did I see that just kind of flipped through there? Linda.
yes.
Linda Spangler. I saw her flip up there on your Facebook page, and I saw someone else. Let me see. Sandy
Hey.
Paul.
How you doing, Sandy Paul and Linda? I enjoy y'all coming out and watching me race. I can't forget about Nick and Michelle, which is these little kids. They're two little boys. They come out there and watch me every race. I mean, they was actually the first ones that come out there with their shirts with my race car number on it.
Oh, nice.
And, yeah, they were just totally inspired with my racing, and they are my heart. Nick and Michelle, I can't forget about them. They come out there, started this big deal, telling us what we needed. We needed to start getting shirts for these people. We actually started making these shirts. Everybody started buying them, and it turned out to be really great. I didn't realize how many people would actually buy shirts, and they did. But it's a lot of people just really like my aggressive driving, and I appreciate every one of them. And you know, if we sit here all night, I guarantee you somebody would call. I mean, because there's a lot of people that knows me, and I think every one of them. I mean, they always was my backbone to racing. If, you know, nobody wants to go to a speedway and nobody see you race. And I could go out there, and I mean, the ones that always showed up, and they said, "What you gonna do? What you gonna do?" I said, "I know you're gonna stand on it." I mean, they waiting for that moment, and it's just like you watching a series or something, a movie or something. They tell me, they say they can't wait to next week because they know Tommy's gonna do this or Tommy's gonna do that. I can't wait. He throws that thing in her sideways and burns the right rear off or whatever. So it was always, it was. I just couldn't wait for the moment to get out to the track and do that. And walking back up through the stands, you get these high fives of people. Man, you done good. I mean, it's just a great feeling. And every one of these fans, I know there's a lot more out there that knows me really well, and you know, I thank every one of y'all for showing up every Friday or Saturday night, whatever race it is, to come see me and to know that. Well, I mean, just for instance, the last race we didn't attend to, I knew in my heart, I said, because we had to break the car down to get it ready for next season. I knew in my heart I had to be there at that track because these people come to see me race. So I made sure I got out there and helped my teammates run, and I still went by and seen every one of them. We got the little young lady with all her kids. She brings our whole classmate out there every week. I mean, I've never seen a bunch of little kids that just loves everything about me. You know, I try to take the time out. I've given them posters, signatures, high fives, and she just thinks the world of me. Her father and her mother are just the greatest. And young lady, when we get out there this year, I guarantee we're gonna show them what's up. Ain't that right, baby doll? She comes up to me. I mean, literally, if I have a bad night, it just breaks her heart. I mean, I've seen her just. Her daddy said she's upset, and I just get down there and give her a hug, and she's fine. She snaps back, no problem. But like I tell her, I said, you can't win them all, babe. She says, I know, but he hit you for no reason. I said, I know, baby, it's gonna be all right. She would. I mean, I think she would go down there and get in a fight with him. She's pretty mad at him. But bless her heart, she's just the sweetest thing, and all her friends come from school, and I don't know. I've just had them hanging on the fences. I remember we circle the racetrack backwards, and as you're coming around, I'm able to see out my left side of my window, and they'll be hanging on the fences as you go back, coming down turn one there along the front straightaway. They'll run up to the fence line, and I'm inspired by that. The kids are everything. These kids coming up these days, for them to be out there watching us guys out there put on a show like that, and then they come to you and tell you after you crawl out of the car, good job, high fives. And you set them in the car, and they get that I'm telling you, I was there. I was one of those kids that got to get in a car. I've sat in Neil Bonnet's car, Bobby Allison's car, old Red Farmer. I mean, I've sat in a bunch of cars when I was coming up in my younger days, and it's something that just always is implanted in you. And if you're a good, successful race car driver, you need to continue that on. Let these kids know what it's about to drive these cars. And here's the gauges. This is a shifter. This is a steering wheel. The little things, the compact in the car, it just gets them so aroused. I mean, they just tickle to death to be able to sit in a winning car. And so to be able to do that for them all last year was the best. And I appreciate it, fans. I appreciate every one of you. I know I can't remember every one of y'all, but thank y'all from the bottom of my heart for being there for me.
That's awesome. I've got another question for you, and this one comes from Bobby Suarez, and Bobby wants to know. He says, do you think that you can win another championship next year?
Yes, I believe, Suarez, I love the whole family. They're a bunch of great people. I've raced against them. I really believe wherever I go next year, I think that I got a lot of good people that's going to be helping me. And I really believe with my ability of being able to see a lot better, and actually, I think it really, I'm going to tell you something. Me being blind and the stuff that happened to me, it made me actually, I, I don't know, I just take everything, it just kind of slowed me down just a little bit, but it also made me perfect my driving abilities. I see things that are a lot different than I used to. Used to, I just drove it till I just burned the tires off it. But we won a lot of races. But now I'm able to finesse it that a little bit more. I take every little corner. I try to find the best line. So yes, I believe we got another championship coming up next year. I really, with the backing I got going on now, and if this other thing comes through, I think a lot of people they gonna know who I am, and I really believe we got to. This old man ain't done yet. We're gonna have a lot of fun, and a lot of people gonna love us. I promise you, because I don't have very many enemies. I'm always like my mom always said. You know, I remember as long as I've been a kid, you always forgive. You know, I've always been the type of guy if I'm mad, I get it off my shoulder, and I'm over there shaking your hand within 15, 20 minutes, laughing with you. We're best friends again. So I don't never carry anything on my shoulders, and I think I took after my mom on that. But yeah, I thank you, Bob. I mean, Mr. Suarez. Man, y'all are some great bunch of people, and I love y'all to death. But
That's awesome. But you're ready to go back out and do it. And so let's circle back to the Snowball Derby, because that is coming up next month, isn't it? Early next month in December.
well, we got 2 more weeks. It'll be the snowball.
The week after Thanksgiving, isn't it?
Yeah, I believe it. Yeah, it's the week after Thanksgiving. So yeah, I mean, it's coming quick. Whew. But
Tell me about it.
but I mean, I'm trying everything in our power to not let nobody down, because I got a lot of people that's really wanting to try to help me out and just to make it. You know, if somebody steps up to the plate and just can help us contribute or whatever to help us make my dream come true, it would be well appreciated. But I got the other friends, like close buddies and racing buddies throughout the years, that's willing to help me. But it just takes so much to be able to do it. And if you're going to go out there and be successful at the Snowball Derby, which is the biggest race of the year, I don't care who you can say that word, Snowball Derby. I mean, people from east, west, south, north, everybody knows about it. I mean, it's the best of the best coming to the track, to the best speedway there is, which, I mean, I was born and raised on Five Flag Speedway just about. And I've always loved the track, and I really believe, it takes a lot of help, and that's really one of the things I need. I just need everybody just to pretty much pull together like a family would, and try to make this come true. I really think it'd be rewarding for all of us. I think at this time I am at the best that I've ever been. I just feel I'm at my peak, and I really believe this to be the year that I could really strive and put on a good performance for everybody, my family, friends. The only way to be able to prove that is to be able to put me in a car, and that means I need people that I do know, my family members, is to kind of support it a little bit and spread the word, let the people know that what we're doing, and just give me that one shot. I mean, it would be the best. I mean, you couldn't ask for it. I mean, that would be one of the biggest things in my life if I could run the biggest race of the year, which is the Snowball Derby. It would just blow my mind. I mean, I would be blown away, and well appreciated. And I promise I would not let nobody down. They would know that Tommy Warren Jr. was at the track if they give me that little chance. I'm telling you, there was a lot of days when I come out there, and there were certain people that when I'd pull up on the speedway, and there's people that's thinking about it right now. They knew that Tommy Warren Jr. was going to be to be reckoned with. But there's a different Tommy Warren Jr. now. I'm a very aggressive driver. I know how to save my stuff now. I know how to drive asphalt. I know the setups I need. I just need that chance. And I thank y'all very much. For anybody that can actually help me out any way in the world, I appreciate it. And I thank y'all very much.
That's awesome. And so, really, folks, as Tommy is saying, if you can help out absolutely would be awesome. The crowdfunding actually ends tomorrow at midnight, and it is the snowball. This is for a chance to race in the snowball derby. Oh, I said that fast 3 times. So for the snowball derby, and we're still raising funds. We're still pushing. Every little bit helps, and it goes to helping Tommy achieve his lifetime goal. And so if you can contribute, whatever you can contribute, it will go straight to Tommy, which is awesome. And whatever he manages to raise, he will be able to put that towards the snowball derby and, for the car and things like that. So definitely, if you can, go there. We'll post the link on his Facebook page, but if you're just wanting to go there right now, and that's fine, it is Indiegogo, INDIEGOGO.com. Indiegogo, look for Tommy Warren Jr. Racing, and you will see the link where you can contribute any amount that you can. And of course, at different certain levels of contributing, there's different rewards for that. So whatever you want to contribute, it is the 11th hour, so we're doing that huge push, and definitely contribute what's on your heart. We really absolutely appreciate that. I know Tommy appreciates that. I have to say, I've just had a great time, Tommy, getting to know you over these last few months and everything that you're trying to do with the racing, hearing your incredible story, but also hearing how through adversity you, and especially with the help of your wife Shannon, you were able to keep the dream alive.
Yes,
and every one of us, we all go through that breaking point in our lives. And but the one thing about those breaking points, they do serve a purpose. As painful as they are, they serve that purpose, and you push through them. And you are a great example of pushing through the adversity and coming out, and look where you are right now. So I'm extremely proud of you, and I get to sit and watch your whole journey from here on out. Watching you race and win, because I know you are a strong winner, and you've got lots of folks watching you, which is awesome, because they're watching to see everything that you do and how you're doing it, because people are glued to, okay, what's Tommy doing next? What's he got going on? So that's pretty awesome, and of course I wish you the best of luck on everything that you are doing. A big, huge shout out to your lovely wife, Shannon, and just the strength that she has carried throughout all of this, and just being there for you. Your amazing children also, who are just, all about Dad, and also encouraging you to keep it going. And to David, looking forward to hearing about you and watching you go just as far as your father, and if not even beyond. So good luck to you as well. And I gotta say, for me, this has just been a great opportunity to hang out. You've had some amazing friends that have that just absolutely love you and are extremely excited to see what's happening in your life as well. I've got a couple of folks that are popping in on Facebook. I don't know, you guys probably see them as well, so let's give a huge shout out to Bobby Wiggins. Let's give a shout out
Bobby? How you doing, buddy?
Dwayne. So Dwayne
Which
Pittman.
ones? Oh, I'm
You
trying
know that
to.
name?
Yeah, I know. Okay, how y'all doing? Man, there's so many of them. I had to sit there and think who it was. Hey, I love it, man. I tell you what, I didn't even know. Sometimes you don't even know these. You don't even know the people are there. But you get back home and you get on Facebook and they say, man, we couldn't believe you're back. I said, what are you talking about? Tommy Warren Jr.'s back, man. We won't miss it next week. And we've had that happen a bunch of times. I mean, they just come out to the racetrack and heard that I've been out there, and then they get out there and they see I'm there, and it just blows them away. Just the people that I not had forgot about it. It's just the people that when I was in and out of racing I just missed. But it's just I'm so glad to be able to see the people I've known and grown up with, and they are great people. I love every one of y'all guys.
That's awesome. That is absolutely awesome. So again, folks, we're going to sign off here, but one last time, if you can, and absolutely, if you want to do so, please go to indiegogo.com, look for Tommy Warren Jr. Racing, and click on that link. Contribute as much as you'd like, and again, all of this goes to helping Tommy achieve his goal of getting to the Snowball Derby. You all know that's a huge, big deal. Tommy's trying to get there the best way he can. Whatever you can contribute would be absolutely appreciated, much appreciated for those who can give. And of course, you know what? Your generous comments that you have been making and urging Tommy on, that's also just as welcome and just as important. We appreciate that as well. Thank you for that. The list and the the link will be posted on his Facebook page. So we'll put all that information all over the place so that you will have that. And again, I'm Donna Whittington. Thanks for allowing me to be here. Tommy Warren Jr. Racing, y'all, and of course his son, David Warren. And you know what? Let's give a huge shout out to David Shear.
All right, David, you're the man, buddy.
Big shout out to David for setting this up.
Everything you done, young lady.
Thank you. Thank you. And of course, for everyone watching, thank you for being a part of this as well. We'll have this. We'll post the broadcast if anyone missed it, so that you can hear Tommy's incredible story, and hopefully you'll hear your shout-outs. And if we knew you were here, we were saying hi to you. So if we missed you, we apologize, and then hopefully we'll do it again, and maybe after the race we'll do a recap or something. So a big thank you to everyone. And again, Tommy and David, let's say goodnight to everyone.
Good night, everybody, and we love you to death, and I hope to see you at the Snowball Derby. Y'all be good, and I'll be talking to you. Snowball Derby, remember that.
I'll be talking to you tomorrow.
Right on, everyone. Thanks.
All right, thank you.
And good night, everyone.
All right.
Bye-bye.